In our headlines tonight, NEMASA donates relief materials to persons affected by flood disaster in Anambra last year. Anambra Police Command detonates improvised explosive device at Otocha. Nigeria Air Force says they are now more prepared to fight insurgents in the northeast. Iran says they are ready to meet any threat from U.S. A beautiful good evening. Glad to have you join us on the news tonight. My name is Maureen Stone Enujoke. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, has donated relief materials to people affected by the 2018 flood disaster in Anambra State. The Executive Secretary, Anambra State Emergency Management Agency, Chief Paul Odenibo, received the donations on behalf of the state government in Oka. David Okwasili has the report.
Formerly, the National Maritime Authority is the regulatory agency in charge of keeping maritime labour and coastal waters. The agency, as part of their corporate social responsibility, targets making the interventions in 20 states, with Anambra being the 18th where they have made such interventions. Some of the items include bags of salt, sugar, millet, beans, cowpeas, bambara nuts, maize, gallons of vegetable and palm oil, cartons of instant noodles, water, toiletries, beddings, sewing machines, mattresses, and many other items. Presenting the items, the Director General NIMASA, Dr. Dakoku Peterside, said the aim of the donation is to help the state government to take care of those who were displaced during the deluge. Represented by the Director of Internal Audit in the agency, Mr. Victor Onuzurike, Dr. Peterside expressed the hope that the relief materials will help the families affected to fully recover from the effects.
We thought it wise that we should come and show some concern, no matter how small it is. That is why we have brought some of these items that you've seen here, that we brought here, to be distributed to them to alleviate some of their problems.
In his response, the Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Chief Odenibo, thanked NIMASA for its partnership, saying that the donation will go a long way in helping the state government in their interventionary efforts.
It's a thing of joy for me. The little thing they brought to us will be put into effective use. We'll give it to the right people, the people who need this. We know them, we'll distribute them accordingly.
It will be recalled that about 18,000 persons were displaced in the state during the last flood disaster. Remember that the Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) had predicted that 30 states of the Federation will be affected by flood this year, including Anambra, where 10 local government areas were projected as highly probable areas. In Oka, I am David Obokwase reporting for ABS News.
A member of Board of Trustees of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Dr. Anthony Enukeme, has advised members of both national and state assemblies to work towards making laws that will improve the living standards of the people. He gave the advice at his country home, Nene, in Anocha local government area, while interacting with newsmen. We have the details.
According to Dr. Enukeme, since the primary function of the legislature is to make laws, those that were elected as the representatives of the people should aspire to give their constituents quality and effective representation by making laws that will reflect their yearnings and aspirations. He stressed the need for the three arms of government at both national and state levels to continue to work in harmony for enhanced development of the Nigerian nation.
A bill that will speed up Anambra State. A bill that will foster unity among the people of Anambra State. They'll make a law that will stabilize Anambra State for peace.
Dr. Enukeme called for all hands to be on deck to safeguard the nation's democratic governance. The APGA Board of Trustees member appealed to members of the All Progressive Grand Alliance who are still nursing grievances over the last primaries to forget the past and join hands in moving the party forward, describing APGA as the political party for the progressives.
Ndiapaleze is one of the agrarian communities of Orumba North Council area. However, their efforts in years past appear not to be fully recognized due to poor access roads and inadequate infrastructure. This explains why they have pledged to continually remain grateful to Governor Willie Obiano-led administration and the state for remembering them in its rural development efforts. Their voice was made public when correspondent Theophilus Okoha visited the area recently. Join him in the journey.
Ndiopaleze community benefited from the state government Community Children Projects initiative. The project they carried out through the initiative includes a civic center, health center, and an ongoing ultra-modern market. The one-story civic center and the health center were easily noticeable as they are situated close to each other. Inside the health center, patients from Ndiopaleze and their neighborhood were spotted receiving treatment. The traditional ruler of Ndiopaleze, Eze Frederick Okoli, speaks on these projects.
These days, it should not be government alone. We're looking at individuals, corporate bodies that can partner administration, government in developing rural communities.
For Mrs. Nonye Eguim, a nurse at Ndiopaleze Health Center, the siting of the health center has benefited residents of the area. She, however, requested government to help in equipping the health center with drugs and primary health care providers.
List as Orumba North were first in immunization and there were local governor. I making when I say na Orumba North anyị lack staffs. I went ka amamaga inwe ike. I am na try maka na ego ka eji akwụ ụgwọ. Amamo ga-enwe ike ka provide kwela monosis.
But adjoining villages are some expenses of land under cultivation by farmers. Mrs. Roslyn Okoli and Mr. Cyril Okoli, who are peasant farmers, were seen peeling palm fruits. They said they are happy with their agricultural practice, but asked to be included among beneficiaries of loan facilities to enable them produce more crops for their families and also make sales for economic gains.
Ewele maka mmecha nkịta eje nwụtakwa uwe tirie mana gọọmenti nye m ego ana m awụ ya nnukwu buo ibu
ana m akpụ isi ọfụma ihe bịasiere m ike nnọọzie ka amaghị m ọrụ mana mfụ etu a ga-etinyere m aka mkpụọ isi ọ bụ mmadụ ya sị na ochie baba.
Chinyeranyika, a hairdresser at Ndiopaleze, who was seen plaiting hair, said business had improved since they started witnessing government projects in the community, stressing, however, that they need to be assisted to improve on their business. Solomon Abazu, an Okada rider, is happy with what the government is doing in flushing out criminals and criminal tendencies, though he requested for more interventions on some roads in the community. In an interview, the transition chairman of Orumba North Council area, Mrs. Ifyu Binabo, said communities in the area are mostly agrarian in nature, hence her request on stakeholders and indigenes of the area outside the state to key into the state government think home philosophy. From Ndiopaleze, Theophilus Okoha reporting for ABS News.
The palm tree is a money-spinning plant. It is not the only cash crop around, but its strength lies in the fact that everything from its roots to the leaves, fronds, trunk, and roots have economic benefits. Staff reports are blessing Ejedibia bumped into a booming market where sale of palm kernel is the business of the day. Her report.
Derived from the palm fruits was one of the major features in palm produce markets of old. Presently, most people may not know that the business of palm kernel still exists. Well, ABS saw a special place for Inako, as it is called in Demli Palace at Ekuke. This particular business makes the market different from other local markets. The section of the market where this is done holds heaps of palm kernel. The buyers are seen bargaining and inspecting the heaps to make sure it is the good type. A buyer that collects from the villagers, Mr. IG Asoka, said there is a sharp reduction in the price of the produce as more villagers now resort to cracking of palm kernel to make ends meet due to the economic situation in the country. He said previously a medium-sized bucket of palm kernel goes for 700 naira, but now it costs 400 naira, while a big pent bucket sells at 1,500 naira. According to Mr. Asogwa, vegetable oil producers are their major customers.
Yeah, they come because of things they had. Okay. So all of them, they break the kernel because of hunger.
On his part, Mr. Stanley Tuma, who sells the produce, said he searches for the palm kernel from the hinterlands, cracks it, and sells, stressing that it is a good business. Blessing Ijedibia, ABS News.
The Anambra State Police Command has discovered and deactivated an improvised explosive device along Otocha-Nando Road, Otocha in Anambra East local government area. A statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer, Mr. Haruna Mohammed, said the Command Explosives Ordnance Disposal Unit, EOD, operatives who were deployed to the scene discovered a white paint bucket filled with sharp nails glued together with cement concrete and connected with 2 wires extended to a nearby bush. The command implores the public to remain vigilant and report suspicious objects or persons to the nearest police station or through the command emergency number 0703 9194 332 for prompt action. And still to come, Nigeria Air Force says they are now more prepared to fight insurgents in northeast Nigeria. Iran says they are ready to meet any threat from the U.S. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
ABS, Heartbeats of the East.
And glad to know you're still watching. Following the reactivation of 3 L-39ZA aircraft, namely NAF 352, NAF 354, and NAF 364, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has said Nigerian Air Force is equipped to combat insurgency and banditry. Abubakar gave the assurance in Kano during the handover of the reactivated L-39ZA aircraft by Czech-based company Aero Vodochody Airspace at the 403 NAF Training School, Kano. The Air Force boss said additional 6 of such aircraft would also be reactivated before the end of 2019. In his remark, the ambassador of Czech Republic to Nigeria, Marek Skolil, traced the bilateral relationship between Czech and Nigeria to 1961, pointing out that the country had always remained Nigeria's ally. The Lagos State branch of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria has warned that there will soon be at least 100% increase in drug prices across the country. The chairman of PSN in the state, Mrs. Bolanle Adeniran, who spoke at an event organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industries, said the price increase might take effect in about 6 months from now if the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control does not reverse the 350% levy it imposed on drug and products registration in the country. She said NAFDAC also needed to eliminate the delay associated with registration of drugs and related products, adding that the registration could take over 2 years in bizarre instances. According to a statement by the PSN, Adeniran said the Director General NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, had carried out various landmark reforms in the sector, including ISO certification of laboratory facilities, reducing the sector's political exposure, and subjecting NAFDAC to the World Health Organization global benchmark. Iran will respond firmly to any U.S. threat against it, The country's foreign ministry spokesperson has said after U.S. President Donald Trump warned Iran of obliteration if a full-scale conflict would ensue. Tension between Tehran and Washington spiked since when an Iranian missile destroyed a U.S. Global Hawk surveillance drone flying near the Iranian coast. Tehran said the drone was shot down over its territory, and Washington said it occurred in international airspace. Under pressure to respond to the high-stakes incident near the strategic Strait of Hormuz, Trump said the U.S. was prepared to hit 3 different sites, but that he scrapped the strikes 10 minutes before they were to have been launched. The U.S. president had struck a combative tone in initial comments on Thursday about Iran shooting down the Global Hawk surveillance aircraft. But as the pre-dawn incident whipped up fears of open conflict, Trump moved to dial back tensions. With the round-off of polls and subsequent inauguration of various political offices in Nigeria, the electorate expects their representatives to begin the implementation of various campaign pledges. One of those to hit the ground running is the member representing Anocha 2 constituency at the Anambra State House of Assembly, Honorable Ejike Okechukwu, who has begun sponsoring a screening project to harness young football talents from his constituency who would be sponsored abroad to pursue professional football. Correspondent Daniel Ezibe has more on that.
Catholic Church, Neni, the venue of the screening, were scores of teenage football talents who were resolute to show their raw footballing abilities. The screening, which was carried out under the close monitoring of 60 Goals Soccer Star Project, an international scouting project that will undertake the management of the successful youth talents, is expected to take phases of intense screening to pick out the talented from the pool of aspirers. Appraising the program, Honorable Okechukwu said the project was cardinal in his blueprint of youth development, especially in the grassroots of his constituency, and added that the most talented teenagers will be sponsored on a free professional football career abroad, while others will be accommodated in the Nigerian Football League. Honorable Okechukwu, who praised the consciousness of Governor Willie Obiano in sports development in Anambra State, said the template of his program would complement the efforts of the Anambra State government in similar direction.
Is that I know that in our place here we've produced many mighty footballers before, and incidentally Mikel Lobi happens to be from this town, my brother, and I know that such talents abound here. So part of my campaign promises to them then was that if I eventually get elected, I will try to see how best to empower the youth. And this is part of it.
A FIFA intermediary agent in Nigeria, Ms. Jane Ndubisi, who was part of the 60 Goals Soccer Star scouting team, tagged the program worthwhile, noting that huge talents abound at the grassroots but are often neglected. She applauded the financier and implored other representatives to find worthy example in the gesture.
This is all about scouting players from different community, different states. And we are here today to scout players, and we've seen a lot of talents in this place. So I believe Anambra State is part of the state we want to use for screening when our foreign coaches will be coming to scout for players. So these people that we have selected, these players we have selected now, what they would do is to go to the next stage of the screening.
Also in the scouting team was a former Nigeria under-23, Francis Ikechukwu, who observed that the program was a fine avenue to harvest talents who could become future breakthroughs.
The Star Project is really an amazing initiative to groom up the youths, the talented ones coming up, growing up. So I feel Soccer Star Project, Global 60 Goals are doing a wonderful job to see the young ones come up in good form.
From St. John's Catholic Church, Neni, Daniel Ezigwe, ABS News.
Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube at youtube.com/ABS TV Online, and follow us on Twitter at ABS Radio TV and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log onto our website www.absradiotv.com. And now a recap of the main points before we go. NEMASA has donated relief materials to persons affected by flood disaster in Anambra State last year. Anambra Police Command has detonated improvised explosive device at Utocha. Nigeria Air Force has said they are now more prepared to fight insurgents in northeast Nigeria. Iran has said they are ready to meet any threat from the U.S. And that's it on the news tonight. Thank you so immensely for watching. My name is Maureen Stone Enujoke Gachifo.